Good afternoon. And congratulations on a safe and effective close to 2014. This is that meeting that we have each year when we take an institutional sigh. We're done. We've gotten through another year. We've gotten through it effectively, and we've gotten through safely. It's also the meeting where I get a chance to punctuate the close of the year and to celebrate all of the extraordinary successes that we've had, while still asking each of you to spend some time in the next few weeks thinking about what you did this year, how you might do it differently, so that next year we can be better still when we open for the fall. But this year, our meeting is going to be a little different. This year, our meeting is a chance for me to say farewell. And I want to thank all of you for joining me today. I'm a lame duck. So you didn't need to answer the call to come to my meeting. I understand that. I know that some of you are here because you want to celebrate with me. You're excited for me. I hope you're not happy to see me go. The rest of you want to be certain that I'm leaving. That's why you made the track. I get it. I remember that they were there not to praise Caesar, but to honor him. I understand the significance. At commencement, I told the graduates that I hoped that they would enjoy their moment of nostalgia, and to enjoy it by embracing those they would miss, thanking those that helped them along the way, and feeling pride in their achievements, knowing they had left Newbury a better place. I told them I intended to do the same. I will miss so many of you, but from this platform I can't possibly walk around this room and start hugging everybody, but I have done some of it, and I will do more during the reception. But I will thank those who helped me along the way, and I will feel proud of having served Newbury, this community, these students. And I'll be confident, knowing that indeed we are a better place, though we still have so much to do than when I first arrived. Now I look at this audience though, and I see a face of someone I don't know, sitting between Ross. Is that Courtney? Oh, welcome, Courtney. I'm going to use your name in just a little bit, Courtney. But thank you for joining us. I don't know why you came. It's neither to celebrate me nor to be certain that I'm gone, unless they promised you that when you took the job. So I'm not going to walk around the room and hug those I'll miss. I'll start to say thank you, however, to so many of you. First, though, I have to thank Ron Minervini and the Aramark team. Each year, I think we get more beautiful in the spring. Each year, the campus looks better. The daffodils, Charlie, were incredible. We were totally in bloom, and I thank you for the care that you give to that. But I have to give special thanks to Chastity. Where's Chastity? Where are you sitting, Chastity? Don't stand up. She's going for hip surgery in just a few days. But really, Chastity is the oil that makes it work, who makes sure that the kinds of conflicted requirements that we set are met and frequently exceeded. And then I have to thank Catherine Cudicelli. I don't know, is Catherine here in the room with us? Of course. She's setting up. Oh, well. I want to thank her for every catered affair has been as beautiful to the eyes as to the taste buds. She has really set a new standard for us. And it's just so good. Well, I thought, obviously, in saying farewell, I had to think about how this adventure started. And I'll never forget the day in early August of 2006 when Phil and I arrived on campus on a Saturday to pick up the car. The car didn't work. However, it didn't start. However, that day I met Debbie Mayo. And I thought at the time it was going to be okay. I knew the campus was going to welcome me, even if so many of you who are still here did it with a real sense of trepidation. I knew you'd make me feel at home. So as Phil and I walked around this deserted campus on that Saturday, I knew that taking this job was going to change me. I also knew that what I was about to do was going to change Newbury. I didn't know if we'd succeed. Most people would have doubted it. I only knew that at the end of the day, we would be different. But I also knew it was worth trying. Now, I made a personal pledge that day, and I made it to this community a few days later, maybe a week, in this room at a meeting just like this that I held on the 20th of August of 2006. I pledged to change those things that needed to change, to preserve those things which deserved preservation, and to listen carefully so that I might know the difference. It's the last part that was so bloody difficult, but I tried to get it right. So today, I'm going to remember the parts I got right. And of course, the funny parts too, because there are many. But those are stories I don't tell in public. But let me tell you how deeply grateful I am to have had this opportunity. I am so grateful in particular to our fine faculty. Yes, in the course of my years here, we've had a few failed appointments. But our faculty today is the finest it has been in Newbury's history, and it's getting stronger still. We're losing some good people, but we're bringing in wonderful people. With Dave Pasmina's promotion to associate professor and the appointments of Yvette Perello and Courtney Cole for this fall, we see where we can go. We see the talent we can attract and the passion that wants to join us. I just wish I had been more successful in making our full-time ranks deeper, larger, and indeed better paid than they are. Joe can work on that. I thank the faculty because you've embraced our mission and our students while never losing sight of the things that were important, the necessity of ensuring that our graduates met the objectives of their courses and their degrees. I have ranted, some say, since day one, that access without excellence is a false promise, and that we do no service to our students when we fall prey to the temptation, and sometimes we do, to allow compassion to override our responsibilities, to set high standards and hold students accountable for the achievement of those. We're not alone in that challenge, and it is a challenge. On Sunday, I was talking with a parent who's been teaching undergraduates at Babson for the last few years. He told me he had quit that job and has been retained, however, to teach in the graduate school where he said he was willing to go, because he couldn't stand being in a room where there were 25% of the students had absolutely no interest in learning, were indifferent to the coursework, and didn't do the reading. And I said, I think our faculty understands. But what you do is you stay the course. Some of that 25% you inspire, many of them you fail, justly. And always you know that you can't give in to them. And I'm so grateful for that. And while the faculty is the strongest it has been, so too is this management team. The people I hired, promoted, and the one I retained. Yes, Paul, you survived another president. This time you were tasked to work even more closely than any time in your professional past, and you stepped up to that task gloriously, and I thank you. I dare say that this management team is also the best in the history of the college, if still perhaps the smallest. Yeah, we're lean. We haven't had so few people in senior management since the college was founded and Bev and Ed, the college founders, sat together in their kitchen. I know it'll grow, but what I know is it is also very, very good. I owe Hannah and Joyce and Paul and Joe and Claire and Gary more than their due, more than I can ever thank them. They have been tremendous. They pulled stuff off with so little resource that it is amazing. And they pulled it off against increasingly difficult odds. I could not be more proud. Not at all. When I think of Joe taking over the helm, I remember when he withdrew from our search for the vice president of enrollment management at the college. I'd never met him. He withdrew before he even met us. Shame on him. So I called him. I liked the look of his resume and the places that he had worked. And I invited him to have lunch to discuss his decision. He accepted. I didn't promise him a job that day. He still had to interview. I only said that if he got it, he'd have the chance to do important work. And he has. That was the best $40 lunch this college has ever spent. 6 years and still paying dividends. So what is best about the management team is how they have hired, promoted, and nurtured a team of professionals to work with them. There are a lot of colleges that burn through their people. We didn't want to be one of those. We wanted to develop people that would be leaders here or at other colleges into the future. And they did it. Those folks, these professionals in our admissions offices and all through the campus, they are the pride of this enterprise. They're our future. Within every office, from the business office to admissions and financial aid, to the Success Center, athletics, residence, life counseling, you name it, this administrative team has grown in talent, if not necessarily in size. You deliver our services, and you do it better than it has ever been done. Now, in saying that, two people, and I don't even know if either one of them are in the room. Shame on them. Oh, one of them is. Two people I must specifically thank. They were there, they were here when I arrived. And that's Kathy Boudreau and Rochelle. They make the magic. Rochelle, in retrospect, I can't imagine how you tolerated me. Particularly that first year. Michael tells me you didn't, but But that's between the two of us. Even now, I make your life difficult. You stayed the course. And for all you have done, and for me, and for Newbury, we ask so much of you. And we don't ever seem to say thank you. We noticed your work. I appreciate your work, and I thank you. Now, as some of you who were here last year, you know that my usual routine is to celebrate our accomplishments, talk about the clock of higher education and the calendar of it and how we're always working. And after we celebrate our accomplishments, both professional and personal, and we've got a lot of those going on too, then I announce my inductee or inductees into the ranks of the T-shirt award recipients. Okay, now this is always, I know, the highlight of this meeting for most people. For those who are new, here's the drill. I made up this award. I made it up 8 years ago. Made up 8 years ago to recognize people in a special way. And we were always resource constrained. The award has gotten a little bit better over the years. When it started, it was indeed a T-shirt. And it allowed me to say thank you to some special people who I want to recognize for their significant contributions to the enterprise during the past year. People who really went beyond the definition of their job, and people who exemplify the qualities that I honor: excellence, curiosity, courage, hard work, things I admire. Now, you need to know, since never has a management team person gotten this award, it's not that they're bad people. I don't allow them to get it because I talk to them enough. I personally make the decision. I sometimes ask for guidance or advice, and I sometimes listen to it. But I tell you that because whether I get it right or wrong in any given year, it's my responsibility. And I'm the one who takes the blame or the thanks. For the first 3 years I was here, I gave only 1 award each year. For 3 years, I gave 2 awards. Last year, I really broke with tradition because I never recognized people who are departing. And so I ended up giving 3 awards last year. So guess what? I'm on a roll. I think I have it mastered. I'm going to be giving 4 awards this year. All right? Now, and this year I've named the awards. So that's the first T-shirt award today is the Step Down Award. And I don't know if she's here. Is Jess here? Okay. The Step Down Award, which goes to the woman who transformed our athletic program while building an extraordinary culture of sportsmanship and scholarship that should be the envy of every college president. Jess epitomizes everything I have wanted for Newbury. I understand her need to leave, but I am so thankful that I had a chance to work with her. And since she's leaving, I'm sort of glad I'm going too. I would not want to work here without her. She has set such a high bar for her successor. You built a program that is such an honor. It will make finding the talent we need much easier than it has ever been. Jess, please come up. You get a T-shirt. Now, for people who are staying, it actually comes with other gifts. And the one woman who absolutely doesn't need another Newbury t-shirt, I send home with the t-shirt. The next t-shirt might best be called the Step Up Award. At 25, some 11 months ago, she assumed leadership in admissions. She takes over this task at a most challenging time, but she's risen to it. She's taken on and done honor to everything we have asked her to do. In this new role, Jill has found her own voice. It's a good voice. And she's striving for excellence from herself, from her team, from the rest of us, with good humor, goodwill, and good instincts. And she does all this while preparing for her wedding, which is Sunday. Jill, I was old. I told you I was younger than you when I got my first directorship. I checked. I was actually older. You got it 4 months before I had mine. So you're on a trajectory that could be extraordinary. But no matter what you decide to do, it will be. If you want to take the opportunities that will come to you with your talent, you will have fun. Thanks for what you've done already and what I know you will continue to do. And have a wonderful wedding. Now come up. Oh, the next one is the Step In Award. And it's an award for one of the stalwarts of Newbury College, a man who is loved by his students even as his subject is reviled. Everyone's saying it's got to be math. He can be counted on to care, to help students reach for excellence, to offer considered and thoughtful judgment to his colleagues, and to step in wherever he is needed. His commitment, even though he's only served here about 5 years, although maybe it's 7, is legendary. And he plays his role so quietly. He seeks neither personal acclaim nor acknowledgement. He aspires only to teach and for his students to learn. He does, and they do. And he's always still trying to strengthen his teaching. Avi Taspier, you are wonderful. I really had to think about this step thing. I don't want you to think that just came so easily. And the final award is the In-Step Award, which goes to no other than Linda Richards, who has labored for 8 years to keep in step with me, or better yet, to keep me in step. She made my work easier, while I might hurt harder. She made my life better for always being there. Not only does she do her own work and much of mine, she also does anything I ask, and all the work that at this institution has nobody else to do. That too falls to her. Somehow we did commencement without her this year. I think she was on the phone with Paula a lot. I don't know how we did it. I depend on her tremendously. I trust her completely, and she's the only one who could possibly get the InStep Award. Throughout this enterprise, there are another 50 people who deserve the kind of recognition I just gave. Some of you, some 10, 12, 14 of you, I don't know the number, have been recognized before. It's been a privilege to recognize you all. Now you're probably wondering, what am I doing? This year is very special. And so I'm giving not a t-shirt award. This one is more important. I'm bequeathing a Newbury umbrella to my successor, who has done all of the things that I talked about regarding the above people who got the awards. But for one, he has stepped up, he has stepped in, he has been in step with me, which I know is so damn difficult, but he has not, and I hope it will be a long time before he steps down. Now, I bequeath Joe this umbrella for several reasons. Because the rains will come. And it's not always raindrops that are falling. Now I want to show you this one, if I can figure out how to open it. It's big enough, Joe, to keep many out of the storm along with you. But some of the rain and almost all of the other stuff will fall only on you. So it's my hope that this will protect you on the days when you must look to the world like you are smiling at the sun, while the torrents are falling fast and furiously around you. It is sad that with this umbrella, you don't have to curse the rain. You get to learn to dance. You're taking on the best job in the world, Joe. Enjoy it, and use this to keep dry. No, I'm not done. I need to be grateful for one more person, and I have to say thank you to Phil. He shared this adventure with me, and I could not have done it without his support and the concessions he made. Well, I have to tell you, his friends don't think he made any concessions at all. They think he has the perfect marriage. He was retired, his wife still worked, and she lived away. What could be better? Yesterday, by text, we celebrated 35 years of marriage. Now people say, how is he handling your return to New Hampshire? He's putting up a good front, folks. But he still wonders how he will handle twice the wife and half the income. So we're going to have to work on that. But just as you survived my tenure here, he'll survive my life at home. I have promised him that I won't send him any scathing emails, and I will try to be more organized. And I will still let him do his thing. And so I thank you, Phil. And I thank all of you. It's with pride that I leave. Most of my pride is in you. What you have done, what you'll do tomorrow. Rest in case my voice breaks. I have been blessed to spend most of my life doing really important work, as are you. And while I had some truly amazing opportunities in my lifetime, this at Newbury, it could be the highlight of my career. And so, when you ask if I'm excited about leaving, I will miss it. Of course I will. I'll miss the work. I'll miss the people. I'll miss you, our students. But I can't help but thinking about a great quote from A. Bart Giamatti. I don't know if you know him. He was railed by the academic community in the New York Times because he was president of Yale University. And he left that prestigious post to become the commissioner of baseball. And so they asked, how could you leave such an exalted post to supervise men playing a children's game? And he said, you don't understand my work. Running a university is not fitting work for adults. So now, I'll return to my yard, an adult pursuit, I hope, and try to turn it back into the garden it was when I left. And I will leave you to tend this garden we call Newbury. Thank you very much.
Hannah, you know we wouldn't let you leave without taking a few shots, and if you know Hannah at all, for someone who's very much type A, it's actually great to have her on her toes because she does not know what's coming, and that's very unusual for Hannah, so this is good. I actually, when you talked about were you really leaving and were we here to see that, I could have told you all I had my doubts myself until Sunday. And every commencement, Hannah gets to the tent very early, checks everything, dots the I's, crosses the T's. And so I was actually a little worried. It was approaching go time, and I didn't see Hannah yet, and she came in, and there was one thing I just had to let her know. I went in and I said, Hannah, I had to do X, Y, Z because of A, B, C, and she turned to speak, and she goes, I don't care, Paul, do what you want. And I thought, my God, she really is leaving. So I did know last week this was happening. So we do have a couple of small presentations, and to get the ball started, I'm going to bring up a T-shirt award winner, Jess Gould.
Hi, so President McCarthy, it has been a pleasure working with you as well, and I share your sentiment in that I'm glad you're leaving when I'm leaving, because although I admire Joe and I think Newbury is in great hands, I have enjoyed working with you tremendously. This is a small token for your 4 years. 4 years, I mean, 4 years. And I just want to say that I've worked at other institutions where the president didn't even know where the gym was, let alone get to the gym, on off-campus gym, and support the coaches and the student athletes the way President McCarthy has done since I've been here. We are so thankful and appreciative of all the support that you've given athletics. certainly in my 4 years, and I'm sure that extended prior to my years. But it means a lot to us. It means more than I think you'll ever know, having you in the stands, appreciating their accomplishments and recognize them via email or on campus. It means a lot. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Jess. It's funny, I hear a lot of people talking about when they met Hannah. And it made me think I actually met Hannah years before she started her presidency. I remember it was my first dinner with a visiting NEASC team. I was relatively early to a senior position. I was scared to death. And I remembered meeting Hannah, and when I first saw her on campus, I couldn't figure out, how the hell do I know her? And finally, Linda Ragosta called me, who was my then supervisor and part of that NEASC visit, and she said, hey, do you remember her? She was the NEASC. She was one of the NEASC visitors from 19X. So Hannah and I go back even further than Newbury. It's a long time in the making. Our next presentation is one of our distinguished faculty members, Professor Rob Harris.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here and to be a part of this ceremony and our attempt to say thank you, which is very difficult to find the words to say. When I was told that I was going to be doing this about 2 hours or so ago, I was a little nervous, I would have to say. But actually, when I stopped to think about it, and actually I didn't have to think about it too much, because the easy thing about speaking at an occasion like this is, if you know the truth, if you can understand the truth, you can speak from your heart, and you don't have to practice too much or worry about saying the right thing at the right time. And this really is an occasion for exactly that. I started here about 36 years ago, as a matter of fact, and I'm in the company of a number of other faculty members who have been here for a long time also. So this is my 4th administration that we're dealing with right here. And when Hannah came here, things were not in particularly great shape. In fact, things were in pretty poor shape. And it's not just the financial situation, it was also the situation with the faculty and staff and how we were relating to the college and how the college was relating to us. And the extraordinary thing, the first thing that came to mind, which was so extraordinary about Hannah coming on, was there was a kind of a despair about ever being able to actually express what the situation was, and the animosity actually really between the administration and the faculty and the staff and so forth. And what was so extraordinary to me, and what gave me a hint of what was to come, was the fact that it appeared to me that within the first 2 weeks of her tenure here, things started to change, and they changed radically, and they changed dramatically. I was actually shocked and terribly pleased. Everything that I thought needed to change and needed to happen actually did happen. So I figured that you must have had at that time 2 visions, 2 things that you could clearly see. The first was the dire situation that we were in. Again, the financial situation, but also the personal situation in there. And the other thing really is where we are right now, the campus and the possibilities we have, the beautiful situation, the experienced, knowledgeable, dedicated faculty and staff that we have. And putting those 2 together is a very difficult thing. But that's actually what happened. So the changes began to occur immediately. And as I say, I knew for sure that we were in for some difficult but very, very good times. Again, when I started here 36 years ago, I was on my first administration, then the second and third came pretty quickly after that. So I'll make this short, and I just want to say that I've said this, this is not the first time I'm going to say this, it's not the second time, I've said it many times, and people can vouch for that. Of the 4 administrations, we have been here for 4 administrations, but we have had one and only one president, and that is Hannah McCarthy. And I would like to, along those lines, to present you with this one other item that we have here. This is a journal, and there are many people who wanted to express their thanks and gratitude for you, and this will give you some nice icon.
Thank you, Rob. Someone told me I should have snippets for transitions. That's why I'm snippeting. So, Hannah, I wanted to point out one fantastic stat, and that is in your 8 years as the Chief Student Affairs Officer, thankfully, like banking crises, they happen between 9 and 5. In the student affairs world, there's no time limit. And I've only had to wake Hannah up once, and it was not for truly a Newbury issue. It was last year when the city shut down after the bombing incident. So 8 years, no wake-ups of a president for a student issue is a pretty good run. Thank you.
Don't I have to attribute that to you and not me?
Well, yeah, work with me on this. And I have a great team to attribute it to, and I've asked one of them to help with the staff presentation, and she's part of your incoming class, Susie Shermandy.
President McCarthy, you and I arrived at Newbury at exactly the same time, the fall of 2006. And when I first got here, soon, I really felt like I was part of something very important. And it had everything to do with your wonderful leadership. Your sense of mission, your commitment, and your wisdom, both on an institutional level and interpersonally, have made you a wonderful president to Newbury, and we will miss you dearly. On behalf of the entire staff, I want to thank you for your commitment and dedication to the college. You're leaving an imprint on Newbury that'll be felt for a long time. I'm honored to present to you the traditional Newbury chair.
Thank you, Susie. Hannah, any last moments at the microphone? Would you like it back? Yeah. Oh, it's all yours.
Just for a minute. I would have been in more athletic contests, except sometimes I got lost trying to find the fields. That was the one thing that we said together we were going to solve, and we didn't get it done, but we tried. And Rob, thank you so much for your kind words. You were so kind to me on Sunday, and you again brought tears to my eyes. But when you started to talk, I thought, gosh, I came for 2 years and I outlasted 2 of the presidents combined. That's not bad. And major corporations go out that fast. I thank you for those wonderful words. I thank you really for everything that you've done. I heard a great story years ago, and it was about a priest who was doing missionary work in Tibet. And he was leaving, he was transferring back to the United States. And one of the little boys, he were in a school, and it was a free school. And in so many countries around the world, schools aren't free. So this was a free school, and it was a little boy. I think the story went that he was probably about 12. And he came to his little gathering where they all had brought food to say farewell to this wonderful priest. And the little boy brought him a bracelet, and it was a special bracelet. It was made of a certain kind of metal that was only found higher up in the mountains. And it was a simple bracelet, but he could tell immediately the artisans there. This was a tiny little village. It was the only place in the world you could get these. And it was 8 miles away and all uphill. And he looked at the boy, and he knew he didn't have a car or a horse or a mule. And he said, "My goodness, did you go to," I'll call it Hoboken. Did you go up the mountain to get this? And he knew this was a day's journey up and back. And he said, "I thank you so much for this, but you didn't need to do that." And the boy looked at him and said, "The walk is part of the gift. You've done your walk for me. Thank you very, very much." Oh, it would be so good if I were leaving tomorrow morning. Joe would probably love it too. Thank you so much.
We'll see everyone out on the patio and in the Mitten House for our reception. Thank you.